Alright, what's good guys? It's Young Muji and we're here with The World Is Mine TV, and I'm going to be telling you guys a little bit about me. In Brooklyn, New York, and then as like a jit, I moved to Florida. I think I moved there before I was 1, and I was raised there till I was 18. 2 months ago, I was like, I gotta go. Like, I had to move. It was just getting old to me. California was like where I had my eyes set. With enough thought and energy, I'm here. I visited like New York every year though. Like every year, every other year, I would visit New York. So it wasn't like I didn't know New York. Like I knew New York, but I don't have any like childhood memories of like growing up in New York. I became conscious in Florida. Like that's when like I started like understanding that like I was alive. But then I started visiting New York, and then I was like, oh, this is where like I was born, you know what I mean? So I understood, but I don't have any like off-rip memories of New York. In Florida, everyone's corny and lame, if I'm being real. But it's cool though, it's a cool corny. Like, I grew up in Riverview area. It's like 30 minutes away from Tampa. I went to East Bay and East Bay High School. I already started making music by this time because I started making music in like middle school. The summer going into high school was when I started making music. I went to high school and it was just like, everybody's like, oh, high school's a whole different experience, like blah, blah, blah. But high school was just lame as fuck. Like everybody was lame. Like I had my homies, you know what I mean? Of course there's cool people you meet. Like you're gonna gravitate to your own like little clique of people. Yeah, like I fucked with it. Like it wasn't really anything crazy. There was like typical high school fights every day. Like Florida is crazy as fuck though. Like all that shit you see on the news, like it's Florida shit. And when people say like, oh, that's some Florida ass shit, like I understand, because people in Florida are just off the fucking like chain. Growing up in Florida, like I don't think I would have wanted to like grow up in any other place, because that shit was perfect. I grew up in the suburbs. There wasn't no hood, you know what I mean? I didn't have to like fight for my life every day, but it was fun. Like I enjoyed my time and the people that I met and shit like that. Oh, of course. Oh, of course. That's like a Caribbean person's like whole life. Like it was music all day long, and it was a whole lot of different types of music. It'd be like R&B, and then it'd be gospel, and then it'd be trap, because I have 2 older siblings, so I'd be listening to like Young Thug and Jay-Z and like Nicki Minaj and shit like that. So I was always around like a whole lot of different types of music. But the thing is, when I was young, I never paid music any attention. Like up until like 7th grade, like I was around music the whole time, but I used to just like, it was just white noise to me. Like I was just like, what the fuck do people listen to music for? And then I was on YouTube and shit was auto playing, and then X came on, one of his underground songs. I think it was like Caution, like the snippet. And I was like, yo, I get it now. Like I like this music, you know what I mean? And then I went on a whole rabbit hole, and then I started listening to X. I started understanding like why people like music and why they have like favorite artists and shit like that. And then that's when like music started to like make sense to me. But growing up, I was always around music and shit. My dad used to do like little DJing shit, so he says. You know what I mean? Like I've never seen any like real proof, but he talks about it like highly. And at the family functions, he'd be like at the DJ table and shit. So I'm gonna give him that. Like my dad my dad used to be DJing and shit, but like it wasn't like I was around him like when he was DJing. Like the musical shit kind of just like was my own personal endeavor. There wasn't really like any influence to it. One artist that's been a favorite for a really long time, that's still like a favorite to this day, is TK. And it's really unfortunate because I feel like personally, every single time I have a favorite artist, some bad shit gotta happen to them. First it was X, and then X dies. And then it was TK, and then TK goes to jail for a dummy long amount of time. So it's like, fuck, TK is just like, that nigga's a genius. Like, I listen to his old shit where it's just like raw vocals, like 13-year-old TK, like, cause that nigga's just a genius. Like everything that nigga says, I'm like, damn, like this nigga's a genius. And he's one of the like main reasons why I started rapping. It was TK. I actually got into TK because of my older brother. The Race came out and we were like, oh, haha, like this is funny. Fuck a beat, I was trying to be the case. Like it was just cool, like it was the trending song. My older brother used to take me with him everywhere. Like everywhere that nigga went, I was glued to his hip. And we were going somewhere and he was like, oh, you wanna listen to the new TK album? And I was like, fuck no, like what? Like who wants to listen to like, you know what I mean? Like it's one hit wonder. Like, okay, he got the Race, but I don't expect nothing like else to be like that. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna play it anyways. By the drive back, I was like, put on that TK album, like put that shit on, like that shit was hard as fuck. You know what I mean? And then like, that's when I went home and then I went on SoundCloud. Cause if you fuck with an artist, they old shit is always on SoundCloud. So I went to SoundCloud and I looked up TK and I went on like a deep search and I found all that nigga shit, and all of it was hard. And I was like, yeah, like this nigga's a genius. What he did while he wasn't in jail is fucking insane. Like putting out The Race and then putting out Hard with Blockboy JB, and the whole video that they had to animate because that nigga went to like jail. Like that shit was crazy as fuck. And the whole execution, like he's just smart. Like unfortunately, like not in a good position, you know what I mean, with the whole case he has and shit. But TK definitely like had his foot on niggas' necks when he was out. It was with my homie. My homeboy came over and spent the night, and we recorded a song on the Xbox headset. We had Turtle Beaches in Audacity, and we was like, fuck, we got this random ass beat, me and him. It was me and my homie, and we put it on SoundCloud at like 2 in the morning on a Sunday morning. We went to sleep, and then 5 hours later, my mom wakes us up to go to church. So we sitting in church. No, I swear to, I put on my life. We go to church, and this nigga, he's like, bro, look at the song. It has like 180 plays. And I was like, what the fuck? From 2 a.m. to like 9 a.m. So like a clean 7 hours, and it has like damn near 200 plays for our first song. I'm like, yo, we low-key going crazy. Like we the next Drake. Like that's exactly what the fuck is going on. And it's crazy because normally with me, like I'll get a hobby and I'll drop it dumb fast. Like I was doing a lot of drawing, like watercoloring. Like and I'm still like decent at drawing, you know what I mean? It's just not something I do consistently. I ran track, state qualifying numbers. Like I was good as fuck at track. It just wasn't like for me, so I dropped it. But when I dropped that song, there was no intention of me like taking it as seriously as I do now. Like it was on some straight bullshit. And I dropped that song and it's been up ever since then. And then like a year later, I look back and I was like, what the fuck? Like I'm still making music. Like I'm still here. Like I thought this shit was gonna fall off. Like I thought I was gonna drop one song and never do it again. But fuck, I'm here, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It was just bullshit. Like it was just me and my homie, and we was like, yo, we just about to be the next Lil Uzi and Playboi Carti. Like we just about to go up, and we just dropped a song. Like it was just straight twirling. Like nothing serious at all. I feel like I took it more seriously than he did at the time. But I recently FaceTimed him a few days ago. First time talking to him in like 2 years. And I was like, yo, like what's good? And we were just chopping it up. And he was like, yo, like I started recording shit again. And he's been sending me shit, and we've been talking more. And I think it's cool that he's finally like coming around to see like the music side of things again. Ever since I dropped that song, it's been jets. Like I ran it up from there because I just loved it. wait, what do you ask me? Like, do I still feel like the song's what? Oh no, that song was trash as fuck. That song was garbage. That song was hot garbage, bro. And the thing that has me sick is that we posted it on both of our SoundCloud accounts. So I was able to delete it, but he forgot the password to that account. So that song is still on SoundCloud to this day. I could probably find it, like if I looked hard enough, bro. I know my homie has the link. That song is so fucking garbage, bro. That song is so bad. It was some like dark, like hard 808s. Like when you search up like a Suicide Boys type beat, and then like the first one that pop up, it was a really generic beat. Like there was no thought behind the beat selection. It was just, but at the time, like we thought it was so hard. Like we thought we was them niggas. But now that I'm like where I am and I'm looking back, I'm like, damn, what the fuck was we on? But I'm happy that we felt that way in the moment. Because if I dropped a song and I was like, oh, that shit is ass, I would probably never put out another song. You know what I mean? And then I would have never like been where I am now. So I feel like that like slightly inflated ego was good at the time. The first place we went to promote it was Snapchat, and of course all your homies at school have your Snapchat. Niggas that we knew was reposting the song and shit. We went to school and niggas was like, oh, like we heard your song and shit. But it wasn't nothing crazy. It wasn't like we was like the biggest celebrities of the school. Like it was just niggas like showing like a little love, like because they're like, oh, like niggas put out one little trash song, like let me repost it. You know what I mean? Like it was just like petty shit like that. Like niggas just repost and repost. It wasn't nothing like insane. I think it was just the creative aspect of it. Like I've always gravitated to different ways to creatively express myself. When I was a kid, I used to do origami. I used to play the piano. Like you know the pianos that light up? Like I didn't even know like any type of keys, chord progressions. I just like from memory I could play for at least anymore. And I used to like to draw. Like I just like creative expression. And then I made that song, and then I was like, damn, this is another form of me being able to creatively express myself. So I dropped that one song, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep running it up. And then I was like, okay, well now I gotta buy a mic. Okay, well now I gotta get off Audacity. I gotta start using FL Studio. Okay, I gotta start like getting my auto tuning key. It was just me getting into like a mode of like I need to keep improving. Like quality needs to get better. You know what I mean? Ever since I started dropping, it's been consistent since then. There's been no breaks, there's been no hiatuses. Like it's just been consistency. I've never found a reason to take a break. You know what I mean? Yes, Yes, bro. I be feeling overwhelmed with this shit all the fucking time because sometimes I feel like, damn, like I have too much on my plate. Like I'm doing so fucking much. Like I was making music, going to school, coming home to do homework and then do music. Like it was just so much shit I had to do. On top of that, I'm going to like model runway rehearsals and shoots. Like it was just so much shit. And sometimes I'd be like, damn, am I ever gonna find time to record, or like am I ever gonna find time to like do some shit? But I feel like now that I graduated, that kind of opens up my time and I have more time to do the creative shit like exclusively, and I think that's super cool. I mean, I model, like that's the other big thing that I do. It's music and modeling for me. I'm just really conceited. Like I really think that I'm a very attractive person, and I feel like the world needs to see that. No, I'm so dead ass. Cause the thing is like, why would I not? Like I feel like, and it's really like wrong of me to say this, but like, have you not like seen me? Like there's no way niggas look at me and be like, that nigga does not look good. Like there's absolutely no way. So I'm the nigga that you need walking for your runway. You're laughing, I'm being so dead ass. I'm the nigga that you need like walking your runway, the nigga that you need in your editorial shots. I'll sit in the cover of your magazine. Like I got, because the world needs to see me, and I agree, you know what I mean? So I can help you make that happen, and that's exactly why I'm like, modeling is it. Yeah, no, I'm a big people person, you know what I mean? I love like being in front of cameras, having a mic in my hand, having a mic in my face. I don't know where like it came from. I'm just a big people person. Like I just like people. I like the energy. Like when I throw a show and people come out and they all go crazy, crowd surfing, everybody's like, it's just crazy as fuck. I can like conjure that much energy in one place. Like I just love it. And then it's like just being in front of a camera, like I love that shit. So whether that turns into me acting in the future, I'm gonna be a voice actor too. That's another thing. I'm gonna voice act my ass off. Like for some anime, for some cartoon, like that's just gotta happen. But there's a lot of shit I wanna do like in the future. That's way in the future, but for right now, it's just music and modeling. I need to voice the next season of Hunter x Hunter. They're all dramatic as fuck and OD as fuck for no reason. And I feel like my voice, Slug can tell you, bro. Slug can tell you, I'm actually a professional voice actor. These niggas don't know. That's like my last trick I got in my bag. I'm gonna hit up fucking Sony. I'm gonna be like, yo, like put me on. And they gonna put me on because I'm that nigga. My first show was a show I coordinated myself. It was in Riverview. It wasn't even like Tampa or anything. And it was alright. It got 70 ticket sales. It was cool. Like I profited. Then I opened for Lil Nar and Rob Banks in Tampa. I sold a lot of tickets. A lot of the people that were there were for me. That was 90% of the tickets that was sold were for me. And I hit my ticket quota. I have to pay them niggas nothing to perform. And then I was like, we gotta go big or go the fuck home. So then I did Muji and Friends. And Muji and Friends needs like its whole segment. Like I gotta let you know this right now. Muji and Friends is a fucking big thing to talk about, but I did Muji and Friends. That was the biggest event I've had to date. It was me, my manager Roxy, and the homie Nick. It was crazy as fuck. Tampa Beat Weekend, a festival that the homies put together, and they wanted me on, and I did that shit, and that shit was fun as fuck. That's where I had like the white fit on. Last show I did before I moved here was in Orlando. Mind you, that shit's like an hour and a half away, and this nigga was like, yo, I need you for the show. And I was like, you're gonna have to pay me. He was like, all right, 500. I was like, oh, okay, bet. So he sends me 300 to go there. So I pull up, I'm sitting in the venue, and he's like, yeah, man, realize that the show ends at 3, and I pulled up at 11 because performances started at 12. Pull up, and he's like, yeah, man, oh, like performances start at 12. Like it's starting to realize the venue's dead empty, like nobody's in this bitch. And he's like, oh, you just gotta wait for people to get here. So now it's like 1, nobody's in this bitch, and I'm like, bro, there's 2 more hours until the event is done. And he was like, oh, we just gotta wait for people to show up. Bro, they show up for 2, like it's not making sense. Once it hit 2 a.m, bro, we just left, because I was like, the fuck, like we just left. And then that nigga's blowing my phone up. Oh, well, you need to give me my money back. No, what? Like I really like had to sit there and explain to this nigga why he's not getting his money back. You paid me to show up, which I did. I'm over here telling you like, yo, I want to perform. Like when our performance is starting, because I wanted my other 200. You know what I mean? That's what I showed up for. I was like, bro, it doesn't make sense. Me sit here, niggas got shit to do. I got a flight to be packing for, because I was like 2 days before I flew out. Like it was a whole lot of shit. I just left. $300 richer though. I'm mad that nigga, like he really asked for it back. I had to explain to him why the answer is no. That nigga called me. He was like, yeah, I need it back. Huh? What? Nah. He was like, oh, like I just need it back. You didn't perform. Nigga, you paid me to show up, and then you paid me the 200 to perform. I didn't take your 200. If I took your 200 and left, that would be an issue. I didn't take your 200. So like, go to hell. So I started off with the name. It wasn't until about a couple months afterwards when I wanted to like start putting my shit on all platforms. I realized that there was a nigga that already had the name. I don't know why I was so surprised because that was the most like generic ass name that anybody could fucking think of. So I was like, yeah, okay, like I gotta get some like me shit, like some actual like thought out shit. And then that's when Young Muji came along. But I've been Young Muji longer than I've been like my old name. So Young Muji's like my name. And I don't plan on changing it. Muji's a real word. Muji's a real word in Japanese. Like it means minimal, like it means just enough. And I feel like it accurately represents like why I'm a creative, because I'm not necessarily trying to go and impress like all these crowds. Like I'm not doing it for the props. I'm doing it because I like what I'm creating. You know what I mean? I would never go and make some shit that I don't like for a cosign. Like that's just not like me. You know what I mean? I'm really conscious about what I make and what I represent. That's why I think like Muji is good, like representing me. That song would definitely have to be Oyasumi. That song was definitely the song that, when I first made the song, I didn't know that I was gonna be doing like Japanese and English. I was just looking for beats, found it, and then I said, Boku no Nihongo ga yokunai. And I was like, why'd I kind of flow? Like, why'd I kind of sit on this like right? So I thought that shit in FL Studio and I run the song up and I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. And my older cousin was living with me at the time. So I go in his room and I'm like, yo, like listen to this. And he listens to it and he's like, oh, this shit kind of go. And then I'm like, yo, like this shit goes. So I'm walking around the house for the next like month, like just straight listening to that shit. And I played for my manager at the time and he's like, yeah, like we got to get a music video for this. So he calls up his like video homie. I get my friend Jax and we get to this video shoot. We do the whole video shoot based off of like Genius, because I wanted it to be like the lyrics, since they're in 2 different languages. It's like, why not? If you speak only English, you can understand everything. And if you speak only Japanese, you can still understand everything. Because everything that I said in English, I subtitled in Japanese. And everything I said in Japanese, I subtitled in English, so that both parties can understand. And like right about now, it has like 20,000 on Spotify. Rob Gango? Roger, the Masked Gorilla guy. I think it's Roger Gango. I don't know. The guy who owns Masked Gorilla, I played it on a stream of his and he really fucked with it. He's like cool with like Warner Bros and shit. That was the first song to like go up. Well, not up because it was only like 25K. Probably give it like 50K overall, like on all platforms. But that was the first song where niggas was like, oh, like this nigga can actually like do some shit. It was a good amount. When Oyasumi was going like crazy, there was a large portion of listeners in Japan. And a lot of people like follow me on Instagram like, yo, like I'm Japanese, like shit, this shit is hard, like we gotta work. But the thing is, like, it stresses me out because, like, they want to work, but they want me to, like, speak Japanese on the song. And I'm like, that's kind of fucking crazy because, like, you're a native Japanese speaker. So, like you're going to watch me. You know what I mean? Like I can't go toe-to-toe with you. I don't think I have any features with, like, any Japanese artists based off of fear. But I gotta get past that. And I feel like if I do it, not only would, like, my music making, like, skill get better, but my Japanese skill would get better as well. Definitely planning on, like, in the future, like, making, like, a debut out there, like, meeting some cool ass Japanese artists, like going out there doing shows. I'm definitely gonna do a Japan tour, you know what I mean? Like I just want to tap in over there because I feel like a lot of like American artists or like US artists, like they're gonna only work with like the people that are in the US. Like it's rare for them, of course, unless you're like Bad Bunny and shit like that, for them to go into like Asia and like find like these like niggas that are rapping, for them to do that shit is rare as fuck. But for me, I already opened that door into Japan with Oyasumi and like showing people like, okay, I can rap in these 2 languages. You know what I mean? And I started out by saying Boku no Nihongo ga yokunai. Like my Japanese isn't that good, so don't get at me, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The Japanese niggas fucked with it, you know what I mean? So I feel like if I just like keep going the way I'm going, then Japan is definitely not a hard goal to reach. There's a collective I know, they're called Star Kids. I specifically remember them for Space Boy because this guy's like, around the time I dropped Oyasumi, we became mutuals and this thing was just going crazy. And it was like, these Japanese niggas, like they're on hyperpop, but it's like Hyperplug. It's the craziest shit ever. Like, and it's in Japanese and it's raw as fuck. And he was doing this shit and I was like, yo, like you're hard as fuck. And now like they're like a pretty big collective in Japan. They go around like doing shows and like the videos they shoot are cool as fuck. And we don't talk anymore, but like just seeing like that nigga go from where he was to now, it's inspiring to like be like, damn, like, you know what I mean? Like with any amount of time, you could be anywhere. That means the killing of young Muji, and it's not literally, it's more so like metaphorically. I'm killing my ego, you know what I mean? The part of me that has the prejudice. I feel like I've been having like a mental battle, like as corny as it fucking sounds, but it's like, it comes down to the decisions you make, you know what I mean? And I've been putting a lot of emphasis on the decisions I've been making, and Moody Side is kind of like a me understanding that like you're gonna fuck up the perspective you look at it from, you know what I mean? And if I sit at it and I look at it from a negative perspective, then I could sit there and manifest more negative things for myself. You know what I mean? So I have to battle these negative thoughts, overcome them with not necessarily positive thoughts. It could be neutral thoughts, you know what I mean? Because life isn't always a positive thing. But to sit here and dwell on things negatively is something that I've been like trying to stop. And that's like what this album's about. I make shit way bigger, and like I make shit seem scarier than it really is. Yeah, and it makes me like, I think it makes me like a detriment to myself. And I be like in songs, I've been recording a lot of shit for Moody Side, and Moody Side is kind of like a story too, where like the songs kind of explain like the inner monologue like going on in my head, like the shit I be thinking about. And Moody Side's not just like listen to music to listen to music. I really hope that people listen to Moody Side and like listen to what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Even if it sounds like bullshit, like there's metaphors, there's similes, like I'm not saying shit point blank, but if you listen to it and you think about it, like I feel like niggas are gonna get it. I feel like you need to listen to Moody Side with a completely like neutral state of mind. I'm not gonna say positive, I'm not gonna say negative, I'm gonna say neutral, because that's like the middle ground. That's where you want to do, you know what I mean? Because if you go too high, you can fall, you know what I mean? And if you go too low, you won't be able to get back up. So if you stay in the middle, I feel like it's a safe place to be, because you could go slightly down or slightly up, but to your center. It's a really experimental album, you know what I mean? So people aren't gonna like it, people are gonna love it. There's gonna be people who be like, oh, like I don't like how you did this, or I don't like, oh, why is it like this, you know what I mean? But the point of the album isn't let's just make the best music like that's gonna hit the trends right now, like let's just make the music that's gonna be cool right now. Like I want the album to be sincere, I want it to be heartfelt with shit I like. So a lot of the songs that you're gonna hear aren't like the most conventional, like throw it on the aux, play it for your homies type shit, but it's just really like heartfelt. I really have to be in the mood to record. Like there are niggas that could just wake up every day and record some shit. I have to get into like a mindset, like I have to be like ready to record. And I don't know when it is, but like I'll be like, all right, like it's time to do some shit. I'm gonna have to go and find a beat. And niggas could tell you, me finding a beat is the hardest shit in the fucking world, because I'm super picky. Especially when I'm like working on an album, I'm super picky about what beats from what producers go on the album. You know what I mean? And it's cool that like I get to be around Slug now. So I get to sit here with this nigga and be like, oh, like this is hard, or oh, like change this. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a great help. Like yesterday I found the beat fast as fuck, and that was like the first time I've ever done that ever. I was like, damn, like that was quick as fuck. Probably gonna record on it like later today. Once I find a beat, put a hook together, and then I just punch in for the verse. That's how like it's been going. The hooks, like I'll type out, and then for the verse, it's kind of like however I'm feeling after the hook, it just goes. Yeah, ambient is a big thing for me. I love that type of eerie, airy, dreamy type sound. Yeah, it's people. I'm a Dreamplugg warrior though. I just finally got recruited. Them niggas finally started fucking with me. I never really like got into like the plug shit. Like I made like probably 3 plug and bleed songs, cause like it was cool at the time. My homies was doing it. Like I used to send them opens. Like it was just fun. And we got like 3 or 4 plug and beat songs up, but it wasn't my like shit. Like I felt like a robot whenever I was making plug and beat, cause I was like, everybody's making plug and beat. Like everybody and their grandma's making this. And then I found Slug. It was definitely plug music, but it wasn't like plug and beat. It just had like this different like type of feel to it that I really fucked with. And then I made 444. And when I made 444, I was like, yeah, like this is definitely like some shit that I fuck with. 444 is still to this day one of my favorite songs that I've ever made. That nigga's a genius. Like I love that shit. I love that shit. He samples like anything. Birds. He made I think it was like a perk or a hi-hat or some shit out of a can opening. It was like a perk or a can, some shit. But that nigga's a genius, bro. Like that nigga, when it comes to beats, bro, niggas gonna know him, cause that nigga's like out of this world, like a prodigy when it comes to beat making. When I first started like trying to figure out what I wanted to sound like, I used to be on YouTube looking for beats all the time. But like after searching up Playboy Cardi type, everybody goes through a Playboy Cardi type beat phase. If you say you didn't, you're fucking lying. You're lying, because everybody does. I got tired of that shit, and I was like, bro, like what the fuck? And I tapped on one, and it was a Playboy Cardi type beat, but it was Prod Slug. Yeah, I know you would never guess like Slug making Playboy Cardi type of shit, but it's dummy old. And then I went through his whole YouTube, and I was like, wait, like this nigga's hard as fuck. I was there before he had like 1,000 followers. I'm like the OG Slug fan. And then I made a song on one of his shit, and I like DM'd him on Instagram, and I was like, yo, like you're a genius. And then he was fucking with me, he fucked with the song. And ever since then, I was like, anytime I need beats, youtube.com/Teen Slug. every single time. His name wasn't even Teen Slug at the time. I'm not gonna say his old name, but it was, I would always go straight to that nigga's page, get my beats. And then it got to a point where I was doing Muji and Friends, and I was just inviting niggas out. Been like this like for a minute by then, and we had a song together, and I was like, fuck it, like I'm gonna call this nigga and I'm gonna see if he wants to fly from California to Florida to come to the show, and he did. And that nigga was way taller than I expected him to be. Like I expected me and this nigga to be same height, and I'm like, god damn, like my nigga's a basketball player for real. But yeah, that was my first time meeting him, and he was exactly what I expected that nigga to be like exactly what I expected him to be. Because I FaceTimed him before, like I've seen his face, so I know exactly what you're like. And then I meet him in person, I'm like, yep, like Bug just suck. I love that nigga to death. And then fast forward, and I'm like, yo, I want to move to California. And he's like, spin, and I spun, and now I'm here, and I have to see that nigga's face every day. That's really my twin. For sure, because like when he's cooking up, I get to be like, oh, like I fuck with that. And like normally he just like makes a beat and then just throws it on YouTube. But when we're like locking in, I'm like, he's making a beat for me. I have a beat in my head, and then he's just translating it. Cause me, if I wanted to make a beat, like I'd be shit out of luck. But him, he could sit and then like take my ideas, then put it down. You know what I mean? And then spin it like with his special like ideas, and then like it's just a hit, and then we make a song. I sent him a voice memo, and I was like, yo, I need a song, and I need to go like boom, 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 boom. And then he was like, what? And I was like, bro, I just need a song, and it needs to go like that. And he sent me like a beat, and I was like, nah, not this one. And then he sent another one, and then I was like, yeah. And then I recorded I Want You the same night. And, like, it was lit as fuck. But it's so much easier when he's right next to me, or I could be like, nah, like this. So like, oh, I want it this way. You know what I mean? It's fun as fuck. And it's definitely a whole different experience than like sending shit back and forth. Niggas think that it was like a whole big thing, like I had to like do all this shit. It was literally me, like, I'm tired of living in Florida, I'm moving to LA. Me and Roxy, my manager, we were on the same shit. So one night I was like, yo, Roxy, it's do or die. Like if we don't buy these tickets now, we're never gonna buy these fucking tickets. So we bought the tickets, and then it was like 3 weeks. We bought the tickets 3 weeks in advance. We just rode those last 3 weeks out. I got to a fucking car accident like before I had to move, bro, and that shit had me so blowed. Thing is that the roads was wet, my mom's tires was shit, the brakes was shit. Like that was not my fault. To this day that shit was not my fault, but it happened, you know what I mean? And like a whole lot of like little inconvenient shit like that started happening once like I decided I wanted to move to LA. I wasn't gonna let that stop me from doing what the fuck I want to do, you know what I mean? And if I could go back and run that whole process over again, I fucking would, because it was worth it in the end, you know what I mean? I'm where I want to be, I'm doing what I want to do, and it's looking up. I feel like I'm closer to the scene, like I'm closer to what niggas is doing. Like when I was in Florida, I stayed in Riverview, and the closest like scene was in Tampa. But the thing about Tampa is like everybody knows everybody. When you go to events, you're seeing the same exact people every single time you go. I love that shit so much because everybody's supporting one another. This is like the biggest move that I've ever made for myself ever in my entire life, hands down. And it was really spontaneous too. Like I didn't want to put too much thought behind it. When you think about something for too long, like the cons start jumping out at you more than the pros. There was no what ifs, there was no buts. I was just like, bro, run it. And we locked those tickets in, and it was up. Oh, for sure, for sure. I would definitely come back to visit, but I'm not moving back to Florida. I spent my whole 18 years of my life in Florida. To move back to Florida is like shooting myself in the foot. If I had to move anywhere else after California, it'd be either New York or Atlanta. I've been to Denver, Miami, to New York, to New Jersey, been to Tennessee, but this is my first time in California. My first time being in Cali is me staying in California. I would probably go to like some Indian country to like get some like crazy jewelry. I'd probably go to like Dubai and buy some crazy ass earrings or some shit. I'm all for the traveling. Like I want to go to Paris Fashion Week, like all that shit. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to have $9 million in my bank account. I don't need 100 million followers. All I want is for my creativity to be able to support me financially. The thing is that that's going to mean like I have to be rich though, because I like expensive shit. Like I like expensive shit. My money needs to make enough money to pay my bills and then be able to get me my expensive shit. You could look at it like, oh, I need to be rich. I just wanted to be able to like have me. You know what I mean? Like I want to have a nice crib, probably like a studio apartment. I want to have a cat, little shit. I want to have like cool clothes. I need money to do that shit, and I don't want to have to go wake up and clock in and nah, none of that shit. Once I can model and make music and that be like my whole life, I'm straight. My lesson to anybody that is watching and is like, yo, what does this nigga Young Muji have to teach me? I'm being so dead ass when I say this. Stop giving a fuck, period. Don't give a fuck. Niggas are gonna like you and niggas are gonna dislike you regardless. Regardless of what you do, regardless of who you are, niggas are going to like you and niggas are going to dislike you. So why would I go and change myself to fit into this group of people so that they like me when niggas still gonna dislike me regardless? Why don't I just be myself and have niggas like me for me? You know what I mean? Because you can only run with an image for so long. And I feel like as soon as niggas stop looking for outside validation and start looking for inside validation is when niggas flourish mentally, because it's so freeing knowing that like none of the shit matters. You gonna die one day and you gonna be like, damn, I wish I was doing what the fuck I wanted to do instead of being who these niggas wanted me to be. You know what I mean? And I would rather turn in my fucking grave than die with any regrets. So I'm gonna do all the shit I wanna do while I'm alive, and I don't give a fuck. And niggas could get like, suck my dick. Be you, don't give a fuck, fuck everybody else except you. If that means fuck me, because it's your life. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. Of course, like, use your best judgment with all the decisions you make, but at the end of the day, be who you know you are. My favorite moment in the world, crowd surfing at Muji and Friends. I think it's crazy that I had that idea of a show and then recruited these two people and I toured the venue with them and we put this whole show together, and it was just a lot of like getting shit. We got the artists, we got the vendors, we did promotion, we put up flyers everywhere. It was a lot of money and like mental work that we did and we put into this show. I was so stressed out like day of, like they could tell you I was running around getting the speakers and shit set up, and I'm sitting over here like, what if we do all this shit and nobody shows up? That was my big thing. Like, what if I do all this shit and nobody shows up? Like, that would be the most embarrassing shit. The turnout is that shit being shoulder to shoulder packed. Like, niggas was in that bitch. Like, it was just crazy as fuck that like our work got all of these people together in one place. For me to jump off a stage and niggas catch me, that right there was just like surreal to me. Like, that just showed me like with enough willpower and enough passion and energy, I could take over the fucking world if I wanted to. Shit. A favorite strain of weed? That is so fucking funny, cause all we smoke are mids. Like, at first it was a joke. Okay, no, it is a joke. Like, the weed we smoke is actually pretty decent. The weed we smoke is actually pretty decent, but like whenever like we be like referring about weed, like we be like, yeah, like we smoke mids. But the mids that we like smoke a lot, I think it's called like Earth OG. But the mids we smoking on right now is Mars OG. These are our mids as of right now. But literally, like, the reason why we call it mids is because we literally go and we just buy the cheapest ounce we could get. So like, it's just so it's just bro. Like, no, those the mids we be smoking type shit. Like, that's just what we be on. That's my favorite strain, whatever the cheapest ounce is. Hey, look, it's never shake though. It's never shake. If it was shake, you could fry me, but it's not shake. It's butt. What the fuck is like a fun fact about me? I'm a really boring ass nigga. Like, there's nothing interesting about me. I have like my regular 4 that like come in, and then I have one that's like all the way up here in my fucking like cheek. That's just never gonna come like down, but it's there. I only had to get one removed because that one was like, fuck. They grew in perfectly, so I don't have to get them removed. Muji Side's gonna be dropping sometime late this year. If you guys want to follow me, my name is Young Muji, YUNGMUJII, on like almost everything, Twitter, Instagram, all that shit, TikTok. Yeah, I'm just local Los Angeles rapper, you know what I mean? Trying to go up, you know what I mean? Got his foot on the gas, never taking it off, you know what I mean? Y'all niggas getting past, you know what I mean? Like, it's Young Muji, you know what I mean? And you're watching The World Is Mine TV.